Tensions escalated rapidly in Puerto Rico as Rasheeda confronted Kendra, following the explosive fight between young Joc and Kirk Frost, leaving fans and onlookers in shock. Sources close to the situation reveal that the confrontation was heated, fueled by months of underlying drama, mistrust, and unresolved grievances between the parties involved. Insiders suggest that Rasheeda's approach was a mix of anger, frustration, and a desire for answers, reflecting the high stakes and personal emotions tied to the confrontation. Meanwhile, Kendra appeared defensive yet guarded, signaling that the fallout from the fight would have lasting implications for relationships and alliances. Friends and insiders note that the fight between young Joc and Kirk Frost was only the catalyst, with underlying tensions and rivalries fueling the intensity of Rasheeda's reaction. Sources indicate that she sought clarity and accountability, confronting Kendra directly about her role in the chaos. Observers highlight that the confrontation unfolded amidst an atmosphere charged with spectators, social media attention, and heightened emotions, making every word and gesture magnified. According to insiders, both Rasheeda and Kendra were aware of the cameras and the potential public scrutiny, yet the intensity of the moment overpowered any caution. Friends report that the confrontation showcased the intersection of personal loyalty, accountability, and public image, with each participant navigating the delicate balance between emotion and strategy. Sources suggest that this explosive encounter will continue to dominate conversations and social media discussions, leaving fans eagerly awaiting the next developments in this ongoing saga. The Puerto Rico confrontation proved to be more than just a heated exchange. It became a defining moment that exposed tensions, challenged alliances, set the stage for future drama. The island of Puerto Rico became the stage for a confrontation that has since left fans of the hip-hop world in disbelief. Rasheeda, known for her fiery temperament and unwillingness to back down from a challenge, confronted Kendra just moments after the explosive fight between young Joc and Kirk Frost. According to insiders, the atmosphere was electric, with emotions running high and tensions reaching a breaking point. What was initially a physical altercation between two high-profile figures quickly transformed into a deeply personal showdown, with relationships, loyalty, and public perception hanging in the balance. Sources close to the events report that Rasheeda had been holding on to grievances for some time, frustrations that had been building silently until the fight provided the perfect catalyst for her to demand answers. Friends note that her approach was deliberate. She wanted to make it clear that she would not tolerate dishonesty, betrayal, or evasiveness from anyone involved in the conflict. Observers point out that Rasheeda's direct confrontation with Kendra was both a personal and strategic move, signaling to everyone present that accountability would not be ignored, no matter the circumstances. Kendra, on the other hand, appeared taken aback but quickly gathered herself. Sources indicate that she was aware of Rasheeda's reputation for confrontation, and while defensive, she maintained a guarded composure. Friends report that Kendra's reactions fluctuated between surprise, frustration, and calculated restraint, suggesting that she understood the potential consequences of saying the wrong thing in front of witnesses and cameras. Observers note that public confrontations in the celebrity world often carry far-reaching implications, influencing not only personal relationships but also reputations and alliances. Insiders reveal that the fight between young Joc and Kirk Frost had set the stage for this confrontation. Friends explain that the altercation itself was more than just a spontaneous outburst, was the result of months of tension, simmering disputes, and unresolved conflicts. Sources indicate that emotions were already heightened, and Rasheeda's decision to confront Kendra immediately after the fight was fueled by both anger and a desire to clarify what had transpired. Observers highlight that timing is critical in high-profile confrontations, and Rasheeda's strategic choice to act immediately ensured that the discussion carried maximum impact. According to insiders, the confrontation quickly drew attention from everyone present. Friends report that bystanders, peers, and members of the media were captivated, as every word, gesture, and facial expression became subject to scrutiny. Sources suggest that this attention amplified the intensity of the exchange, making it clear to both Rasheeda and Kendra that the world was watching, and that public perception would be shaped by their actions and words in those moments. Observers emphasize that celebrity confrontations are rarely private, and the awareness of an audience often influences behavior, adding layers of strategy to emotional responses. Friends close to Rasheeda indicate that her approach was fueled not only by the recent fight but also by broader patterns of behavior she had observed. Sources suggest that she felt a sense of responsibility to address the situation directly, ensuring that accountability was demanded and that past tensions were acknowledged. Insider accounts reveal that Rasheeda's assertiveness is often misunderstood, but in moments like this, it functions as both a personal expression of frustration and a method of asserting control over chaotic situations. Observers note that high-profile confrontations frequently reveal underlying power dynamics, emotional investments, and relational strategies that are not immediately visible to the public. Insiders also reveal that Kendra's responses were carefully measured, reflecting both awareness of Rasheeda's temperament and a consideration of public optics. Friends report that Kendra understood the potential fallout from any misstep, and thus aimed to defend herself without escalating the conflict further. Sources suggest that her guarded reactions were strategic, as she navigated the dual pressures of defending her reputation and managing relationships with everyone involved in the incident. Observers highlight that the art of restraint is often critical in high-profile confrontations, balancing emotion with strategic awareness. According to friends, the conversation quickly delved into the specifics of what had occurred during the fight between young Joc and Kirk Frost. Sources indicate that Rasheeda demanded clarity about who was responsible for certain actions and decisions, while Kendra attempted to explain her perspective and defend her role in the events. Insider accounts reveal that the exchange was intense, with both parties speaking passionately, yet also carefully aware that every word would be analyzed, recorded, and shared. Observers note that in situations involving high-profile figures, accountability often becomes a public spectacle, where narratives are contested in real time, and reputations are continuously negotiated. Friends close to both women report that the confrontation revealed long-standing issues beyond the immediate altercation. Sources suggest that resentments, miscommunications, and perceived slights accumulated over time, and the fight between young Joc and Kirk acted as the trigger for these deeper tensions to surface. Insider accounts indicate that the intensity of the conversation reflected not only anger over recent events, but also the weight of historical grievances that had not yet been addressed. Observers highlight that celebrity conflicts often operate on multiple levels, combining immediate disputes with underlying relational dynamics. Insiders reveal that the aftermath of the confrontation was as dramatic as the encounter itself. Friends report that witnesses immediately began speculating about potential consequences. Social media buzzed with commentary, and industry insiders debated who won the exchange. Sources indicate that the public's fascination with high-profile drama amplifies the stakes for everyone involved, turning private emotions into widely consumed content. Observers emphasize that this cycle of confrontation, media coverage, and social engagement is central to understanding modern celebrity conflicts. Friends close to Rasheeda and Kendra indicate that, while emotions were high, both parties eventually stepped back to assess the situation. Sources suggest that they were aware that ongoing drama could influence relationships, career opportunities, and fan perception, making strategic thinking essential even amid emotional intensity. Insider accounts reveal that managing reactions, statements, and follow-up actions is a critical skill in high-profile conflicts, particularly when multiple parties and audiences are involved. Observers note that the combination of emotion and strategy defines the trajectory of celebrity confrontations, influencing how stories unfold in the public eye. According to insiders, the Puerto Rico confrontation has lasting implications. Friends report that relationships between Rasheeda, Kendra, young Joc, and Kirk Frost are now being reassessed, with alliances, trust, and communication under intense scrutiny. Sources indicate that the fight and the subsequent confrontation may have lasting effects on both personal and professional dynamics, influencing future interactions and public narratives. Observers highlight that high-profile conflicts rarely resolve quickly. Instead, they evolve over time, with every action and reaction shaping the ongoing story. As Part 1 concludes, insiders emphasize that the Puerto Rico confrontation was not merely a response to the fight. It was a critical moment that revealed deeper tensions, challenged loyalties, and set the stage for ongoing drama. Friends report that the intensity of emotions, combined with public scrutiny, ensured that this incident would remain a focal point of discussion and speculation, captivating fans and insiders alike. Sources suggest that the fallout from this confrontation is only beginning, with more revelations, reactions, and dramatic developments expected in the days ahead. Observers note that the intersection of personal emotion, rivalry, and public visibility ensures that the story will continue to dominate conversations for weeks to come. Following the explosive confrontation between Rasheeda and Kendra in Puerto Rico, the aftermath has been nothing short of chaotic, as sources close to the situation reveal that tensions continued to simmer behind the scenes. Friends report that while the fight between young Joc and Kirk Frost initially drew all attention, the confrontation between Rasheeda and Kendra quickly became the focal point, as both women expressed their frustrations, grievances, and demands for accountability in real time. Insiders suggest that the intensity of the exchange was heightened by the history between the individuals involved, making the interaction more than just a response to a single event. It was the culmination of months of unspoken tension, miscommunication, and personal stakes that had been quietly escalating. According to insiders, Rasheeda approached Kendra with a mix of anger, assertiveness, and strategic awareness. Friends note that she was keenly aware that the confrontation was taking place in a high-profile setting, and while her emotions were raw, her delivery was deliberate, ensuring that she communicated both her feelings and expectations clearly. Sources suggest that this approach was intended not only to express frustration, but also to assert control over the narrative, signaling to Kendra, bystanders, and the public that accountability was non-negotiable. Observers highlight that in celebrity disputes, the ability to assert oneself without overstepping is key, as public perception can have lasting implications. Kendra, meanwhile, reportedly struggled to maintain her composure, though insiders note that she attempted to navigate the confrontation with caution. Friends suggest that she was aware that any misstep could escalate the situation further or damage her reputation, and as a result, she measured her words carefully while defending her actions during the fight. Sources indicate that her guarded responses reflected both personal concern and an understanding of the high stakes involved, demonstrating the delicate balance between emotional defense and public perception in celebrity conflicts. Insiders revealed that the confrontation quickly drew the attention of everyone nearby. Friends report that bystanders, crew members, and other attendees were captivated by the tension as the exchange played out with heightened emotion and verbal intensity. Sources suggest that this attention amplified the stakes, making every gesture, tone, and response critically important. Observers note that when private disputes unfold in public settings, the awareness of being watched can significantly alter behavior, creating a complex mix of authenticity and strategic calculation. According to sources, the confrontation also highlighted broader dynamics at play, including the relationships between Rasheeda, Kendra, young Joc, and Kirk Frost. Friends report that underlying issues of loyalty, trust, and past grievances all contributed to the intensity of the moment. Insider accounts suggest that Rasheeda's direct approach was as much about addressing these historical dynamics as it was about the immediate fight, ensuring that unresolved tensions were confronted head-on. Observers emphasize that in high-profile social circles, confrontations rarely exist in isolation. They are often intertwined with long-standing relational and professional complexities. Friends Close to Rasheeda note that her assertiveness during the confrontation is consistent. With her history of standing up for herself and demanding accountability, sources indicate that she has repeatedly demonstrated a willingness to address conflict directly, particularly when she feels that personal integrity or loyalty is at stake. Insider accounts suggest that this quality, while sometimes viewed as aggressive, also establishes her as someone who commands respect and refuses to tolerate dishonesty or misrepresentation. Observers highlight that such assertiveness, when exercised strategically, can shift the balance of power in contentious interactions. Insiders also report that Kendra's responses were influenced by both personal stakes and an awareness of public perception. Friends suggest that she recognized the need to defend herself without escalating the situation further, balancing emotional reaction with strategic restraint. Sources indicate that this careful navigation is critical in situations where every word and gesture is subject to scrutiny by peers, media, and social media audiences. Observers note that the interplay between authentic emotion and calculated presentation often defines the outcome of high-profile confrontations. According to friends, the confrontation quickly moved beyond verbal exchange, as body language, tone, and presence played an equally critical role. Sources suggest that Rasheeda's assertive stance, eye contact, and gestures communicated intensity and seriousness, while Kendra's measured responses signaled both caution and an attempt to maintain credibility. Insider accounts reveal that in high-stakes disputes, nonverbal communication is often just as influential as spoken words, shaping perception and influencing the trajectory of conflict. Observers emphasize that the full impact of such confrontations cannot be understood without considering both verbal and nonverbal dynamics. Insiders reveal that social media coverage began almost immediately, with clips, comments, and reactions circulating widely. Friends report that fans dissected every aspect of the confrontation, analyzing expressions, words, and interactions to determine who was right or wrong. Sources indicate that this level of scrutiny amplified the stakes for both Rasheeda and Kendra. As public opinion became an additional factor in the unfolding drama, observers note that in today's digital landscape, celebrity conflicts are not contained to the physical space in which they occur. They extend rapidly into public discourse, magnifying impact and potential consequences. Friends close to the individuals involved note that the aftermath of the confrontation was intense, with private discussions continuing well after the initial exchange. Sources suggest that both Rasheeda and Kendra consulted trusted allies to debrief, process emotions, and strategize next steps. Insider accounts reveal that these post-event discussions are critical in high-profile disputes, influencing future interactions, public statements, and social media engagement. Observers emphasize that conflict management extends far beyond the initial confrontation, shaping ongoing relationships and narrative control. According to insiders, the Puerto Rico confrontation has set the stage for ongoing developments, as unresolved tensions and public scrutiny continue to influence behavior and relationships. Friends report that alliances, trust, and communication strategies are being reassessed, with each party considering both personal stakes and public perception in their decisions. Sources indicate that the story is far from over, and fans can expect further exchanges, clarifications, and dramatic moments in the near future. Observers highlight that high-profile disputes often evolve over time, with each subsequent interaction building on the intensity of previous events. Insiders also reveal that the dynamic between Rasheeda and Kendra reflects broader patterns in celebrity relationships, where public visibility, rivalry, and personal history intersect. Friends report that moments like this confrontation illuminate power dynamics, emotional investments, and the complexities of loyalty and trust. Sources suggest that understanding these underlying factors is crucial to comprehending the full impact of the Puerto Rico incident. Observers note that the combination of personal emotion and public visibility creates a pressure cooker environment, where conflicts escalate quickly and attract widespread attention. As Part 2 concludes, insiders emphasize that the confrontation between Rasheeda and Kendra is more than just a response to a fight. It is a defining moment that reveals underlying tensions, challenges relationships, and reshapes public perception. Friends report that the intensity of emotions, strategic considerations, and social media amplification ensure that this story will remain a focal point of discussion, speculation, and drama. Sources suggest that the fallout from this incident will continue to influence interactions, alliances, and fan engagement, making it a pivotal event in the ongoing saga surrounding young Joc, Kirk, Rasheeda, and Kendra. Observers note that this moment exemplifies the high-stakes world of celebrity conflict, where every action is magnified, every emotion is analyzed, and every outcome carries lasting implications. The aftermath of the Puerto Rico confrontation between Rasheeda and Kendra has continued to unfold in ways that reveal the intricate dynamics of celebrity relationships and the impact of public scrutiny. According to insiders, the heated exchange, triggered by the explosive fight between young Joc and Kirk, has left both women reassessing their personal and professional alliances. Friends report that Rasheeda's assertive confrontation not only demanded accountability, but also served as a declaration that she would no longer tolerate dishonesty, evasion, or unresolved tensions. Sources suggest that her approach was both emotionally charged and strategically calculated, reflecting an understanding of how public perception, social media, and interpersonal dynamics intersect in high-profile circles. Kendra, meanwhile, is said to have recognized the stakes immediately. Friends close to her indicate that while she attempted to maintain composure, the pressure of the confrontation, combined with the awareness of public attention, forced her to navigate her responses with care. Insider accounts reveal that Kendra's strategy involved balancing defense with restraint, ensuring that she did not escalate the conflict further while still asserting her perspective. Observers note that the ability to manage both emotion and optics is critical in celebrity disputes, where missteps can have lasting consequences for reputation, relationships, and opportunities, according to insiders. Rasheeda's insistence on clarity and accountability brought to the surface a series of underlying issues that had been quietly building over months. Friends report that the confrontation exposed unresolved grievances, miscommunications, and questions of loyalty that had previously been unaddressed. Sources suggest that these revelations amplified the intensity of the interaction, making it clear that the dispute extended beyond the immediate fight and into the realm of personal history and relational strategy. Observers emphasize that high-profile confrontations often serve as catalysts for airing long-standing tensions, which can redefine relationships for years to come. Friends close to both women report that the confrontation became a focal point not just for those present but also for fans, peers, and media outlets who quickly disseminated clips and commentary. Sources indicate that the visibility of the exchange amplified emotions and created a feedback loop, where public reaction influenced private behavior and vice versa. Insider accounts reveal that this dynamic is common in celebrity disputes, where social media and public scrutiny can heighten the intensity of already charged situations. Observers note that the intersection of personal conflict and public spectacle adds layers of complexity that make resolution both challenging and highly visible. According to insiders, the tension did not subside immediately after the confrontation. Friends report that both Rasheeda and Kendra engaged in private discussions with allies to process the incident, strategize next steps, and evaluate potential consequences. Sources suggest that these debriefings were essential for maintaining emotional balance and navigating the ongoing fallout, as both women recognized that their actions and statements would continue to be scrutinized. Observers emphasize that the ability to reflect and strategize post-conflict is a critical skill in managing high-profile disputes. Insiders reveal that the confrontation has already begun to influence relationships within the broader circle of those involved, including young Joc and Kirk. Friends report that alliances are being reassessed, trust is being reevaluated, and communication patterns are being adjusted to account for the heightened emotional stakes. Sources indicate that the ripple effects of this incident will likely extend beyond the immediate parties, impacting social dynamics, professional collaborations, and fan perception. Observers highlight that in celebrity conflicts, one explosive moment can have far-reaching consequences that continue to unfold over time. Friends close to Rasheeda note that her approach during the confrontation was emblematic of her broader personality: assertive, strategic, and unafraid to address conflict head-on. Sources suggest that her willingness to confront Kendra directly demonstrated both emotional courage and an understanding of the importance of public narrative in high-profile situations. Insider accounts reveal that Rasheeda's actions sent a clear message about her expectations, boundaries, and unwillingness to tolerate unresolved issues, solidifying her reputation as someone who commands respect and attention. Observers note that such assertiveness often reshapes power dynamics in celebrity disputes, signaling that one's voice cannot be ignored, according to insiders. Kendra's responses were carefully calibrated, balancing defense with the awareness of public perception. Friends report that she recognized the potential consequences of her words and actions. And while emotional intensity was present, she aimed to navigate the situation with caution and strategic foresight. Sources indicate that her approach demonstrates the nuanced challenge of managing conflict in the public eye, where emotional expression must be weighed against reputational impact and future relational dynamics. Observers emphasize that strategic restraint is often as impactful as assertive confrontation in determining the outcome of high-profile disputes. Insiders also reveal that social media played a pivotal role in shaping the narrative. Friends report that fan reactions, commentary, and trending discussions amplified the intensity of the situation, creating a digital stage where the confrontation continued long after the physical exchange had ended. Sources suggest that this online amplification forced both Rasheeda and Kendra to consider the broader implications of their actions, from public perception to the potential influence on personal and professional relationships. Observers note that the interplay between real-time events and social media discourse has become an integral component of contemporary celebrity drama. According to insiders, the emotional stakes of the confrontation were heightened by the public setting and the presence of witnesses. Friends report that every gesture, tone, and expression was magnified, adding pressure and intensifying the experience for both women. Sources indicate that this heightened visibility reinforced the strategic element of the exchange, as both Rasheeda and Kendra were aware that their actions would be analyzed, shared, and discussed widely. Observers highlight that public confrontations in celebrity circles demand a careful balance of authenticity, restraint, and strategic presentation. Friends close to both parties reveal that the confrontation also brought broader relational dynamics to the forefront. Sources suggest that trust, loyalty, and communication patterns are now being reassessed across the network of individuals connected to Rasheeda, Kendra, young Joc, and Kirk Frost. Insider accounts indicate that the fallout from this single event will continue to influence interactions, alliances, and the ways in which disputes are managed in the future. Observers emphasize that the long-term impact of high-profile confrontations extends far beyond the immediate moment, shaping both relationships and public perception. According to insiders, the Puerto Rico confrontation serves as a turning point, marking a moment where tensions, loyalties, and emotional stakes became impossible to ignore. Friends report that both Rasheeda and Kendra are now navigating a landscape that has shifted dramatically, with new dynamics, heightened scrutiny, and unresolved questions influencing their next moves. Sources suggest that this pivotal moment will continue to generate discussion, speculation, and drama, as fans and insiders alike attempt to anticipate the next developments. Observers note that in celebrity circles, turning points like this often define the trajectory of relationships and plug narratives for months or even years. As Part 3 concludes, Insiders emphasize that the confrontation between Rasheeda and Kendra in Puerto Rico is far from the end of the story. Friends report that subsequent interactions, social media commentary, and media coverage will continue to shape the narrative, keeping fans engaged and invested. Sources indicate that the combination of emotional intensity, public visibility, and strategic maneuvering ensures that this story remains a defining moment in the ongoing saga surrounding young Joc Kirk, Rasheeda, and Kendra. Observers highlight that the fallout will continue to unfold, revealing new layers of drama, rivalry, and alliance that will captivate audiences for weeks to come. The explosive confrontation between Rasheeda and Kendra in Puerto Rico has left fans and insiders captivated, offering a rare glimpse into the intense emotions and complex dynamics behind the scenes. Following the heated fight between young Joc and Kirk, Rasheeda took matters into her own hands, confronting Kendra with a mixture of anger, frustration, and the desire for accountability. Sources reveal that this exchange was more than a reaction to a single incident. It brought long-standing tensions and unresolved issues to the surface, highlighting the intricate relationships and alliances that define this circle. Insiders emphasize that the intensity of the confrontation was magnified by the public setting and social media coverage, which turned a personal dispute into a widely discussed spectacle. Friends report that both Rasheeda and Kendra were acutely aware of the cameras and online audiences, making each word, gesture, and expression critical to how they would be perceived. Sources suggest that this awareness added a layer of strategy to the emotional exchange. As both women navigated the delicate balance between authenticity and reputation management, observers highlight that the fallout from this confrontation is far from over. Trust, loyalty, and communication among the parties involved are being reassessed, with each individual considering how future interactions and public statements might influence relationships and public perception. Fans are encouraged to stay tuned as this story continues to unfold, revealing further insights into the rivalries, alliances, and personal stakes that drive the drama. The Puerto Rico confrontation is a defining moment, and its impact will continue to reverberate across social media, interviews, and behind-the-scenes interactions for weeks to come.